Hello! Hi guys! Welcome to my channel and to this 40k subscribers anniversary-ish celebration Q&A thing. I asked you 4 questions on my community wall on YouTube, and you have given me lots of very great questions that I look forward to answering. And also thank you so much for all of your congrats and well wishes and compliments and all of those beautiful comments that you left on my post. I appreciate it a lot. It warms my heart. I'm so happy you're here with me and that you enjoy my videos and that you are asking me questions. So let's get into it. And strap yourselves in because it's going to be a lengthy one. I have some tea with me here so that my voice can hopefully carry me through this. Let's start with some YouTube questions, and I'm going to be glancing this way because I have my notes there, just so you don't think I'm trying to avoid you or anything. What would you say are the benefits of starting your own art YouTube channel, and how does it help in your art journey or art career? Well, I can only speak for myself here because I think everyone's journey is going to be different. For me, the main benefits of having this channel has been that I get to share my art. I get to share my entire journey with art and not just the final pieces. I get to share the experience with you as well, and the things I'm learning, my failures, my anxieties, everything that comes with an art journey. I get to share that in a way that feels meaningful and exciting to me, and not just drop little photos and captions in someone's busy Instagram feed that I was doing before, and that didn't really fulfill me at all. Another benefit to running a YouTube channel for me has been like more of a personal development nature. I wanted to practice being myself in a relaxed way in front of complete strangers on the internet. I admired that in my favorite YouTubers, the way they could just be so effortless in front of the camera and almost like childlike in a way. It felt like an interesting challenge to see if I could become just a little bit more like that and not be so uptight about my public persona the way I had been before, especially as a freelancer. You know, you're concerned with appearing professional enough and to be taken seriously and all of those bullshit things that I don't really have to concern myself with anymore. I truly wouldn't be where I am today without doing this work for over 3 years now. Even though my focus has often been elsewhere and I've taken extended breaks away from YouTube, even though it's been very hard and it's taken a lot of time, I am so happy that I decided to do this. Not only do I feel much more at ease with who I am and kind of the person that I want to be to other people, but I've developed so many useful skills in running this channel and learning how to make videos. It's encouraged me to make more art. It's encouraged me to try other ways of learning art, like experimenting more in my practice. I've built an audience of beautiful, kind, creative, like-minded people, and I've built an email list, and I've made sales, probably most of my sales, from running this channel. And I think that is precisely because of the type of connection that you can build with people on this platform. Business success, at least when it comes to the arts, I think has a lot more to do with quality personal connection than just hard numbers, like building a huge audience or getting lots of views on things. So yeah, YouTube has not only helped my art business, art career, but it's kind of the foundation of it as I see it. Had I started my art business by doing the types of things that I do now, like painting collections and approaching galleries, trying to book exhibitions, applying to art shows, releasing print collections, had I started there, I would have probably gotten really demotivated and I wouldn't have had an income for like the longest time. So I'm happy I chose this route. Not saying it's the route for everyone. I'm certainly not saying that every artist should start a YouTube channel, but for me, it was a great decision. What's the one thing you would do differently if you were to start a brand new art channel today with all the knowledge you've gained in your journey so far, minus the recognition? I'm not sure I would do anything differently. Because I know I approached YouTube very carefully in the beginning. I thought long and hard about it. I researched it a lot. I knew it was going to be a challenge and it was going to be a long game type of thing. I mean, sure, I could tell myself to be more patient and don't look at the numbers and stuff like that, but it's not really realistic because, I mean, you're going to be impatient and you're going to look at the numbers. There's just no getting away from that, I think. I wish I could have paced myself a little bit better, maybe. So I might not have been burnt out as much and maybe not felt the need to take longer breaks away from YouTube. But I'm not sure that's the case. I'm not sure that would have helped. Long breaks are kind of the standard. I don't know of any really big successful YouTuber that has not taken a break sometimes, and sometimes months or years away from the platform. And I'm not sure that's even a bad thing. I mean, we need vacations sometimes. We need to get away from what we're doing and rethink things or refill our creative well. I think that's natural and it's not necessarily a mistake or something that I would change. Besides, my channel has grown just as much when I've been away from it. It's, you know, that's just the nature of this platform, which is beautiful. And I don't think I would have stayed on this platform if it wasn't for that fact. One thing I wish I could go back and tell myself is to not listen too much to all of the YouTube advice that is so rampant on YouTube. And I know it's hard to resist because you're curious and you want to get it right. You want to have your channel grow. Of course, it's healthy to take inspiration from what other people are doing. And I mean, I'm not telling you to not listen to YouTube advice, but for me, I'm the kind of person who is really easily swayed by what other people are doing and especially what other people are telling me to do. And so it's been kind of like a battle for me to also remember or listen to that inner voice that sometimes says that, hey, maybe this is not the ideal tactic for you to be following. Maybe this is not relevant for your kind of niche or audience that you're trying to build. To maybe trust my own intuition a little bit more. But other than that, I don't think I could have done it any other way. I started really slowly and carefully. I built sort of like a difficulty ladder for myself. I didn't start out trying to do everything perfectly. And I just kept it fun for myself. And that's what I would recommend others do as well if you want to be in this for the long haul. And that is actually the topic of the next question, which is, I have 4 subscribers and I'm starting my creator journey in the photography area. How did you keep yourself motivated at the beginning during the first tens or hundreds of subscribers? Did you care about it or did you focus more on creating content despite the low number of views? I kept myself motivated by focusing on the things that had nothing to do with my numbers or metrics or the things that were beyond my control. I knew it was going to take time. I knew it was going to feel really uncomfortable in the beginning. And, you know, I had a lot of skills to learn. I had never filmed myself in that way. I had never edited videos before. I didn't know how to approach YouTube at all. So it was a learning process for me, and that was how I approached it in the beginning. Focusing on one video at a time, trying to improve a little bit at a time, and just having fun with it, trying different ways of making videos and enjoying the process, building a body of work, you know, all of those things that were within my control and not worrying so much about the things that weren't in my control. So any other outward success that I would get on top of that, like a new follower or a new beautiful comment or, extra views on a video, that would just be icing on the cake. I don't think I really started to get affected by the numbers until later on, like maybe when I approached 1,000 subscribers and beyond that. Like that's the point where you can join the YouTube Partner Program and monetize your channel, and there was so much buzz around that, most of it pretty unearned. Not much changed from having 999 subscribers to having 1,000 subscribers. I didn't magically start earning a huge paycheck from YouTube or anything, but it was kind of this milestone that I had been working towards and that I know a lot of other YouTubers are working towards. I remember that after that point, I started caring a little bit too much about my numbers and my earnings. As soon as money gets involved into your creative process, it's going to start affecting your creative process and how you feel about what you're doing, and it can really mess you up. My advice is to keep your intentions and your goals with YouTube as far away from those external markers as you can. Focus on your own experience and growth and the factors that are within your control. Focus on enjoying this journey, because it's going to be a long journey. It's going to take years, possibly, before you start getting a return on your investment in terms of time or even money. If you spend money on equipment and such. Whenever we're in something for such a long haul, as with YouTube, we need to enjoy it. There's no other way that we can keep doing this. So that's my number one advice. Just don't worry about the numbers. Do this for you. Do this to grow your skill and build a body of work that you're proud of. And enjoy the process. Can I recommend some other creatives on YouTube who have a similar calm approach to business and career? My single biggest role model when it comes to career and business in general is Cal Newport, and I've spoken about him many times. He's not an artist or a creative in that way. He's a professor and an author, and he's not really a YouTuber. He's a podcaster. But his podcast is available in video form here on YouTube. So if you're looking for more of the type of career advice that I like giving, then look no further than Cal Newport. Read his books, listen to his podcast. Some art-related YouTubers that come to mind are Valerie Lynn and Jonna Jinton, The Unexpected Gypsy, and Lucid Pixel, Adam Duff. They are creators that I feel a kind of kinship with creatively and emotionally, but I can't speak for their career or business philosophy because they don't really emphasize that on their channels. They're not business coaches, and neither am I. I am just a fellow creative sharing my opinions and what works and doesn't work for me. If you who are watching this have recommendations for other similar type of creatives on this platform, then do share them in the comments, because I would love to follow some new people, and I'm sure that other viewers of this channel would appreciate some recommendations as well. How do you keep something for yourself artistically while keeping up an art business? Every time I try to start making money from my various art pursuits, I end up hating it. I either make 1 million copies of a piece that I know will sell, or I become resentful of giving up artistic autonomy for a custom project. Neither feels fulfilling. And also, what do you do with all of the learning pieces that you make as you go? This is such an important question because I think that this happens to almost every artist who makes art their job. It's kind of unavoidable, unfortunately. It's a very difficult balance to maintain. We will be affected by what people think of our art and the market and the results that we get from the art that we share. And we do, of course, want to make a living. We need to have food to eat and keep a roof over our heads. So I can't really give any other advice than stay aware. Be aware of when you make a creative sacrifice in order to pay the bills, or when you make a financial sacrifice in order to pursue some kind of passion project. I think only a hobbyist can afford to only pursue their passion projects. As soon as you make something your business, you're going to have to do some sacrifices. That's just unavoidable. You're going to have to sacrifice creative time in order to update your website and file your taxes and do marketing, create content perhaps. And sometimes we might want to pursue projects not because they're what we most feel like doing at that point, but because they will put food on our table and they will enable us to pursue those projects that we are truly passionate about. So I guess it's up to each artist to toe the line between what fulfills them creatively and what actually enables them to make their art for a living. There are no easy answers, I'm afraid. My learning pieces pile up in my closet and in my drawers. I try not to throw my art away, even if I really hate it and am kind of embarrassed by it. I still feel like there's value in keeping my early work to be able to look back on and see my progress and see my journey. I've had to cull a few through the years to even make space, and I am fortunate in living in a big house so that I have space for my old art. And also it's a perk to mostly paint watercolor, because watercolor paintings are flat and they can be stacked in your closet. So that's a plus. Do you still have concerns about giving up social media? Does the fear of missing out creep in at times, or are you past that stage? Oh, it creeps in quite regularly. I don't think I will ever really get past it, because I never take for granted that I know what's best or that I am on the right path. I constantly question what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and whether it's the right path or not. And like I said, I'm very easily swayed by what other people are doing and what other people are telling me to do. I've never said that I've fully given up social media, though. I think that's important to state. And I don't want to give the impression that I have. I don't want people to think that I'm somehow better than they are. I still have my Facebook account. You know, I don't use it, but I have it just because that's where I have a lot of family and extended family. My Instagram account is still up and live. I'm active here on YouTube, which some people consider a social media, and the same goes for Pinterest. I don't believe in being an absolutist when it comes to marketing or social media. If my FOMO ever gets too big, I am open to experimenting and either getting my convictions disproved or confirmed. And I'm actually in the middle of an Instagram experiment right now. I've been posting there for a few months or something to get my feed more up to date, because I figured I wanted to use it for IRL networking. Like an extension of my business card. Instagram can be quite useful for research purposes, like seeing what other local artists are up to, like what's going on in my immediate area. And I've actually gotten a lot of leads that way recently that I wouldn't have been able to find by just Googling. Local art shows and galleries that are open to receiving applications from artists, those types of things. I mean, I hate that. I hate that I have to go on Instagram to find those things, but it's a fact. And I am trying to do more things out in the real world right now. I'm trying to get my art out into the real world. And ironically, Instagram has been kind of helpful in scouting out those avenues and opportunities. Other than that, though, my opinions about Instagram remain the same and have only been confirmed. It's like the more I've posted, the fewer people have seen my posts, which is very annoying, but also kind of beside the point, because I'm not on Instagram to grow a following or to sell my art, because it sucks for that. It really does. It's worse than it's ever been. I don't need likes and comments on my posts. I don't need more Instagram followers that are just not going to see my posts anyways. I just use it as kind of a casual portfolio, so that when I am doing things out in the real world and people check me out on Instagram, which unfortunately is still a habit for many people, they're going to see my latest work there and not the work that I did 2 years ago. I'm taking photos of my work anyways, so I might as well just batch schedule it to Instagram for like a month ahead and then be done with it. I still don't need to have the app on my phone. I still don't have to be active or engaged there or anything. You can still make use of these platforms without them making use of you. If for whatever reason you suspect that some social media platform might be useful to you, try it out. Test that hypothesis and determine for yourself if the effort is worth the reward for you. And if it's not, then you can comfortably make that decision and not feel FOMO about it. I think that's the rational way to approach social media nowadays. Creating marketing content is hard. You need consistency and it needs to be worth your time, so gaining new clients is of course the main goal. But how do you balance this with making content that you're passionate about? Content that you want to see in the world? Is it possible to do both 100% of the time? First of all, I would question that part about consistency. I am not really convinced that consistency is as important as a lot of people say it is. Consistency might be important if you're trying to please an algorithm of some kind, but in my experience, quality evergreen content is going to trump consistency anytime. I of course try to stay somewhat consistent with the core activities in my business, like my email newsletter, for example. But I haven't been consistent on YouTube. I've been here for over 3 years. I've taken extended breaks of, I think, 6 months to almost a year sometimes. And my channel has still grown. People keep finding my older stuff. And I don't think I would even still be on this platform if I was punished every time I dropped off my publishing schedule. I think consistency is overrated, just saying. But is it possible to create content that you're 100% passionate about and that still gains you new clients or sales? I think so. It might be tricky because it's so easy to get tempted into creating content in a way that gets you like external results. So maybe you see what's working well for others in terms of views or comments or subscribers or I don't know. And you kind of equate that with business success, although you don't really know what actually gets them actual concrete business results. Often we don't even know what gets us business results. And let's be honest. I mean, do we really know where all of our clients come from and how they found us and why they decided to buy from us? I don't. I wish I did. I think more often it's the accumulation over time of our output that's going to have a greater impact than just a single piece of content. When we create stuff that is what we're excited about and that is 100% in line with who we are as a person, our values, and our offerings to the world, like what we sell, I believe that's the best possible marketing strategy to have. Whenever our content feels stale or boring or draining or inauthentic, it might actually feel that way to your audience as well. Or it might attract a type of audience that you're not really excited about anyways. So I definitely believe in following your bliss when it comes to marketing and content creation. I think it's going to shine through. People are going to see that you actually care about what you're talking about, and it's way more likely to attract your actual ideal customers. What is your biggest revenue source? Hard numbers would be interesting, but I understand if you don't want to share them. I'm not going to share hard numbers in this particular video. I might in some other video. I have thought about making a video like that before. I value financial transparency, and I have not really an issue with being transparent with where my earnings come from. But I'm also not sure that I want to make that kind of videos because I know they're going to attract a lot of new viewers, and that's not necessarily the kind of attention that I want. My income isn't really brag worthy. It's not clickbaity. I don't do sponsorships on this channel, which means saying goodbye to the largest income source for many YouTubers. I don't really do affiliate marketing. I don't offer coaching at the moment. I'm really good at saying no to money when I think about it. It's kind of my entrepreneurial superpower, or my greatest weakness. I'll let you be the judge of that. I piece together my income from several different sources, and in the beginning, my greatest single source of income was Skillshare, where I made courses in drawing and watercolor. And it stayed that way for a few years until, was it maybe like a year ago that I made the Skillshare, my latest Skillshare video. It was when they completely upended their entire payment model to teachers that cut all of the teachers' pay in more than half in some cases. It wasn't exactly that bad for me, but since I haven't been active on Skillshare, I have sold my courses via my own platform, my own website, like one-off courses, because I didn't really like the subscription model that they had. So my income from Skillshare has just steadily gone down over the years. I mean, it's still a few $100 a month, but it's not a lot. YouTube is a growing source of income for sure, although not really at the level that Skillshare was in the beginning. My single biggest income source these days is my online store. So sales of digital products and art courses and art prints and also original art when I do release that. My monthly income usually hovers around 20 to 40k Swedish crowns, which I think is about $1,800 to $3,700, something like that. Where it lands depends a lot on what I've released that month or the type of marketing activities I've done, and also on factors that are outside of my control. You know, that's the nature of running a business. Now, full transparency, me and my partner live fairly cheaply on the Swedish countryside, and he has a secure, well-paying full-time job, which is a main reason that I've even been able to do this and take my time with it. I think that's important for context. Had I not had this kind of economic safety, I'm not sure I would have even dared to take this plunge at all those years ago, or it would have taken me a lot longer to get to where I am today. I am extremely lucky and privileged to have the kind of family support that I have, and I don't take it for granted. All right, enough of that little tangent. I hope I managed to answer your question somewhat satisfactorily without being all clickbaity around it. What advice do you have for someone who wants to start a creative business but doesn't feel like an expert? I don't have an impressive CV or a large body of published work. I've been a writer most of my life, but abandoned my writing for about 7 years. And after a lot of inner work, I'm fully embracing my art again. Do you think someone like me could start a business, or should I hold off? I mean, there's so much information and nuance that I don't have here. I don't know what kind of business you're thinking of starting or what kind of writing you do. There are many types of writing careers, and some of them might require experience and knowledge and even credentials. Many will not. In most creative fields, the final customer is the final judge of whether or not our art is good enough. I was a complete amateur artist when I started my business, and I still sold some of my work. I sell more now that I have more experience and practice, not to mention a bigger audience, but I had to start somewhere. We all have to start somewhere and at some point. And usually I am a believer of starting before we feel entirely ready, because we are poor judges of our own ability anyways. And the best possible feedback that we can get is the one we get by actually doing and learning by doing. So if you are the type of humble perfectionist that you sound like, I don't think you will ever feel like you're expert enough anyways. And so you might as well just throw yourself out there and test the waters and not worry so much about your credentials. Do you know if there's a place online where artists share and help each other so that I can show my art? I mean, there are probably millions of places like that online. Everything from Facebook groups and subreddits and free Discord servers to paid communities and masterminds. I can't really give any specific tips because I've never really been a part of a community like that. And also I think it's a very personal and subjective thing, what types of communities you're drawn to and kind of the vibe that you're looking for. I would just continue to ask around and see what other artists say if they're part of some community that you could check out. And then maybe just dip your toe in and see where you feel at home. How do you stay calm? I don't I have plenty of freakouts and plenty of anxious rumination. I talk a lot about calmness, and I named this channel The Calm Creative, not because that's what I am, but it's because it's what I aspire to be. So it's an aspirational thing. But I will say I'm a lot calmer today than I was just a few years ago. Aging does that to you. I highly recommend turning 40 because you give less fucks overall. It's a beautiful thing. Latest books and games you enjoyed, and also books that shaped your childhood. Oh, what a great question. I love talking about books and games. So books, a lot of Stephen King lately, actually. I read Pet Sematary and Mr. Mercedes. I also read his latest short story collection, You Like It Darker, which I liked. I did like it darker. And I am just now getting into The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. It's a book I've been wanting to read for many years. Those are kind of my recent ones. And games, oh, so many great games lately. I've been gaming a lot more this past year or so. Outer Wilds, Subnautica, Planet of Lana, South Park, Stick of Truth. I love that game. Grounded has been an obsession in this household. We have played it together, we have played it apart, and we have played it with a mutual friend. We have played so much Grounded. Inside is a game that I played very recently that touched me deeply. What a masterpiece. And currently I'm actually returning to Skyrim for the first time in many years. Experimenting with some mods, trying to get that whole House of Cards to work, which requires a PhD in computer science normally, and I just have a bachelor's degree, so I'm struggling a bit, but I've managed to get a few graphic mods to work to just improve the overall look, and also some fun gameplay mods. It's a lot of fun, actually. It's my evening self-care right now, playing Skyrim. Books that shaped my childhood. I mean, the first books that I remember reading were these cheesy, mass-produced tween books. Like, what is that series called? The Valley High River... No, Twins of Sweet Valley High. And the kiddie books, like the detective series. I read a lot of those because my mom worked at the publishing company that published those books. So she would bring a lot of books home for me to read. But I didn't really become a reader in that sense until in my teens. Like, that's when I started to really consume a lot of books and also pick out books myself. I remember loving the David Eddings Belgarian series of fantasy books. Also, a series by a Swedish author, Johanna Hildebrandt, the Valhalla series, that takes place in pre-Viking age Scandinavia, and it's about the Norse gods and goddesses reimagined as humans, but with a lot of fantasy elements and also some romance. And I was obsessed with those books, and I actually recently reread them. And yeah, it still holds up. I love that series. Those are the ones that come to mind. And then our final question for this Q&A. Can we see the crows? The crows! My crow paintings are underway. They were slightly delayed because of some other art projects. I took a break to practice some abstract landscapes and also to do some pet portraits, and right now I'm working on releasing a print collection of bugs, my watercolor insects. So I've been a bit distracted, but the collection is underway and I have a few finished pieces that I can show you. Some of them are right there, and they're little babies. They're crow and magpie babies. Here's one, a magpie fledgling, and another magpie fledgling, and then a really pissed off looking crow baby. And I've also finished a few really large paintings. It's quite big, as you can see. It's a half sheet, so I mean, what are those really big sheets? They are 56 centimeters by 76 centimeters, I think. That's like a whole sheet, and this is half of those sheets. I am not used to painting large watercolors like this, and so I kind of surprised myself with this one. And I was so happy with it that I immediately wanted it on my kitchen wall, which is why I framed it. And then I have another of the same size that's kind of a work in progress, but it's a crow in a winter landscape sort of thing. Yeah, a work in progress. This crow collection is for an exhibition that I have booked for January, early February next year. So I'm not in a rush. I'm taking my time with them. But yeah, that's where I'm at right now with my crows. I have tried filming the process of painting these, but I have failed every time because I get so distracted. I am kind of pushing the style of my watercolor paintings right now. This kind of stylistic, abstract background is something I've been practicing a lot, and I haven't been able to focus on that while also filming. And it's been way too tricky to film these larger paintings as well. It's just the logistics. I can't get it to work smoothly, and so I'll probably only film my smaller paintings going forward. I want my videos to aid my painting process and not disturb it too much. That was all of them. All of the questions you had for me. Thank you so much. Let's do another Q&A when we celebrate, like, I don't know, 100K maybe? That would be something. Thank you so much for watching and for being with me on this journey and enjoying my videos and asking me questions. If you have more questions on these questions, do ask them in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.